And we're live. We should be all sound should be sorted out this week.
Audio's on.
Fortunately, yeah, audio is on, so
Yep, audio is
all
on.
good. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to transition today. So thank you again, Roy the Hamster, for the mix. I forgot to transition smoothly. And once again, thank you to our other supporter, Advocate for Gamers, A4G. If you're looking to push your career either streaming or as a professional gamer, be sure to check out their website, advocateforgamers.com. I believe that's the actual URL. I need to double check. But I think I said that right. Yeah, Advocate for Gamers. We got that right. Okay, so welcome back again to Exclusive Release, Episode 3. We have a lot of great things to talk about this week. And we have a couple of changes to how we're going to do things, to Game Club especially. This week, we both played the game. So now we'll be discussing our experiences. We actually bought a new one.
We can actually talk about it.
Yeah, it'll be good. Also, really important is that in order to kind of keep the flow of our podcast smooth, we're going to go ahead and save questions or anything like any kind of direct interaction like that isn't directly pertinent to the conversation at hand at the end. So if you have any questions or anything you'd like to talk to us about, for about maybe 10-15 minutes at the end after we turn off the recording, we can go ahead and we'll just have some chat interaction. So if you are tuning into the podcast on YouTube after the recording, be sure to tune in live if you get a chance. Thursday nights at 9 p.m. PST.
Tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet at us. We'll answer questions. Absolutely. Our handles are right there, of course. Right. Yeah. So, go ahead and tweet at us or be sure to tune in. We appreciate live viewers. And you can go ahead and interact with us directly and be a part of that conversation. Sal, is there anything you want to say before we begin?
No. If you guys want to know what cookies I made this week, Girl Scout cookies. Thanks a lot. Delicious. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Of all the things you could choose, you chose thanks a lot.
Thanks a lots are dank and don't even say anything. They're fucking delicious.
Okay, whatever.
But dude, it's delicious.
Oh, should be all good. Well then, let's go ahead and begin. So, first talking point for this week. Recently, I believe it was in the last 7 days, we try to keep relevant between podcasts. Sometimes we'll realize something after podcast has, aired. We're like, oh, we missed something that happened either that day or the day before. But we try to keep it within the last week. One of the things that came out recently was that the state of Washington recently just put a bill to be proposed a bill that they would like to make video games with loot boxes be investigated by the Gambling Commission of the state, which is a really interesting topic. So there's a lot to say about that. I actually looked at the bill. Sal, did you take a look at the bill at all?
I did not. I didn't have time to. I was too busy playing World of Warcraft. Sorry.
Which is another thing we'll talk about, but that's okay. The bill that was proposed actually isn't like super complicated wording. It's a very early draft of the bill, so there isn't a lot of backup clauses and whatnot. It's really only about 2 pages long, so I actually took a look at it.
It's an early bill too, so
yeah.
They'll add writers on. So
of course. Basically, before we get into jumping into what it actually means, what the wording of the bill says that in the interest of protecting impressionable children and audiences against predatory practices with loot boxes, that the state of Washington is concerned about it borderlining on the edge of gambling. They want to launch an investigation in any games that include loot boxes, and they want to make it the business of the Gambling Commission so that they can apply necessary restrictions. Potentially, I believe that the gambling age in the state of Washington is also 21. So potentially, if a game has loot boxes, then it could be restricted to the sale of only people over the age of 21, which could be huge. This is still very early on. Oh, I need to change the text. It is not goodbyes as the topic. While I go ahead and do that, Sal, why don't you go ahead and pitch in?
So if you follow any kind of competitive gaming, or it doesn't have to be competitive, there was that big scandal with CSGO last year and those gambling sites. There's a few people that got caught up in that, and the thing is with games like CSGO and even PUBG and games like that. So you can turn around and if you get a good item, you can sell it around for money, which is pretty crazy, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's one of the big things about loot boxes. Like, to be fair, I don't think that explicitly the loot boxes aren't an inherently bad thing. If you ask me, it's just that everyone has done them poorly. Almost every single game that has it has done it poorly. Not every single one, but a lot of games have handled it fairly poorly and left themselves either they just make a shitty loot box system or they've left themselves up for what can be a problem. So, like, I think that Overwatch's system is safe because you can't trade skins, you can't sell the boxes, you can't, they don't do anything in game other than cosmetics. Everything is purely cosmetic, so it doesn't really make a difference what you pull from a box in reality. It just kind of is like, oh, you got that, you got Witch Mercy skin, which is dope,
It's just kind of bragging rights, really.
Yeah. So
just to look cool.
Yeah, really, that's all it really is. Other than that, it kind of is just that for Overwatch, the loot boxes aren't a huge deal. I don't think that they did them explicitly like good, because I think that their system is kind of bland, really. I'm not really that stoked with the loot boxes. It's kind of nice to get cool new skins, but I've never really been.
To be fair, you're not that big into Overwatch. And
that is true. True. On the other hand,
I just care about the Reaper skins. I have literally every single Reaper skin, emote, voice line. I have everything.
I'm concerned about. Do we need to get you help?
No.
Now then you have the other side of the spectrum, where you have like CS:GO's original problem, where loot boxes had cosmetics but really the issue isn't whether or not it's cosmetic or actually affects the game. I mean, if you create loot boxes that affects the game, Battlefront 2, then you're doing something really, really badly, because you're leaving things up to chance that are it's just stupid. You're asking people to spend money to make themselves better. It's pay to win. But in CSGO, there were really rare skins, and you could sell the skins as well as sell the crates.
Stupid amounts of money.
Yeah, like, oh, you want your red tiger print Karambit skin? Well, it's gonna cost you $700. Yeah, $700 to $2,000. Yeah, it's insane. People will pay exorbitant amounts for arbitrary things, but the real issue isn't, like, honestly, if they just gave out skins and guns and things, kind of like how TF2 did it, where you'd be playing and it's like, here's a thing, and they just gave you a thing, it wouldn't be as much of a big deal.
Overwatch does that.
What, just give you a thing?
They give you a loot box if you level up.
Yeah. Well, but like what I'm talking about is like, because in TF2 you'll play a game, and then at the end of the game they're like, here's a new shotgun for your pyro, and you're like, okay, like, or a new handgun, and you're like, okay, cool, and like you might use it, but if it's like your second one, you can go and put it on the marketplace and try and sell it. That is an okay model, because you're just selling goods, you're creating goods, and you're giving people the option to sell them, which is,
you have to point out why companies do this, especially for a game like Overwatch. If it's not a subscription game, like World of Warcraft, there is no revenue after you buy the game. That's it. It's done.
Which is a model. Yeah, it's a model that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but usually that model was fine because games we played, because games weren't. There was no servers, back in the day. So you were just making your money up for the production of the game and the publishment, and that's it. Yeah. But now you have to keep up servers. Yeah. And servers are not cheap. So that's why.
Kind of like movies. Like when you make a movie, you don't have to keep paying for every time you air the movie. Exactly. You have to pay for it. Yeah. You just need to recoup what you spent on the movie and then make profits. Games used to be like that, but you're right. Now server costs and other kinds of people are expecting updates and fixes and things like that, and balance changes. You're going ongoing costs after the release of the game, and you need to make more money. I do want to talk about the bill, but just to finish up, at least on the concept of loot boxes themselves, the problem is not when you give people the ability to sell items in game. It's when you give people the ability to sell potential for items in game, which is what happened with
Yeah.
CS:GO, because you give people the option to sell crates.
CS:GO was gambling. It was
Yeah.
without a doubt gambling.
Yeah.
Because you were spending, I don't know, $2 for a key, and you could potentially make $5,000 off that crate if you got a good gift.
Potentially. Odds are
That's
not good.
gambling. That's
Yeah.
by definition gambling.
Yeah,
There was a
and
chance that you would make more money than you put in.
to be fair,
By chance.
to be fair, when they were gambling, it actually only made them actual real money because of illegal term breaking bots that ran the system that allowed the gambling, because they could, do third party trades of like in-game either Steam wallet currency for actual money by, taking back channel avenues of like trading game codes for, and buying game keys and selling those to like G2A and stuff. So technically when they originally created the system, it wasn't explicitly bad, because once basically you were supposed to be able to put money into the system and it was never supposed to be
when
able
you
to come
start
back out.
manipulating the system for your own gain, that's when it's a problem.
Which
And
wasn't
that's-
really Steam's fault, or
Yeah.
Valve, but either way.
Well,
So the big, and then it comes up.
they let it happen. So in a way, it is their game. It is their.
They cracked down on it eventually. They did crack
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, after everyone was like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, okay, and then the other model of loot boxes, which we do have to talk about, is the Battlefront 2 model. In the sense,
that's just bullshit.
because it's dumb, because it's the chance to pull something that actually affects your game, actually makes you better in game, and you have to buy loot boxes. It's like card games can get away with making you buy card packs because every card you pull could potentially be used in a deck, and like most of the time you'll pull crap cards, but like, so what? You'll probably get a couple cards that you can use. With Battlefront, you had to pull good stuff, otherwise you weren't going to be competitive with the other people. And what that meant is that if you're not spending as much, you're not winning as much, and you have to spend a lot, because it's not like if I put $10 into a game, like there was a game, Tribes Ascend, that you used to put money into and you could buy guns, and like some of the guns were better.
PlanetSide.
Or PlanetSide 2, yeah. You could buy better guns, which like that model is at least like okay, pay to win. But at least that one, you're like, if I want to be better at the game, I can spend $10 and get this much currency and buy a gun or two. Like, you knew what you were getting into. With Battlefront and other games like it, you would be like, I really need the extended clip on my blasters, And so I don't know. I don't actually know what the boosts were in Battlefront 2 because I boycotted the game, obviously. And you'll end up being like, okay, well, I could sink anywhere between $15 to $300 hoping to get that. And when it's kids, the big problem is like me as an adult, like I'm not going to spend that much money on a game. I'm not, certainly not. As for like, but the problem is that a lot of children play these games, and when nowadays it's so easy to link a credit card with an account, so a kid could easily. I mean, how many times have you heard?
They make you link
Yeah.
credit cards.
Yeah,
To
so-
have PlayStation Network or Xbox Live, you need to have a credit card attached. It's literally a click away. It's super easy.
So for children who don't really have the concept of how money really works, they just know that when they push this button, they get another loot box. And that's really a Skinner box of things. They push the button, they get a reward, it feels good. Problem is, they don't realize that it's draining mommy and daddy's wallet. And that has created more than, everyone's heard stories about like the girl who ordered like a $500 doll playhouse through Amazon Alexa, and like the kid who spent like $10,000 through Clash Royale or whatever.
Or Jack Black, he was on Jimmy Fallon a year ago or something like that. Or no, it was more than that. He was saying that how his kid spent $3,000 on a mobile game.
Oh my
and he
God.
had to like call them, and they wouldn't refund him.
That's ridiculous. Well, see,
Yeah.
that's the problem, is that like technically speaking, the companies are being dicks and they're being predatory in how they handle the costs, but they haven't broken any laws because there aren't any laws yet. Like up until this point, I heard a topic about this. The ESRB isn't a government system. It's actually a private group that rates games, because early on when they started creating games that started having controversial material and, kids were going out and buying early Mortal Kombats and parents were like, what the hell are you playing? I didn't buy you that. They basically said, okay, before the government gets in on this and just destroys everything, how about we as gamers regulate the system ourselves, which is what they did. you know, and that's when the ESRB
Which is, by
came
the
in,
way, a lot of industries regulate themselves.
which is good. You know, it's a really
Yeah.
good way. Let the industry handle itself because it's good for they're the closest to what's going on. They know what's needed. Problem is that
There's
no one.
also
Go ahead.
special interests in there because
Yeah.
if you own a company and you are in the industry, you know, you want to manipulate those ratings.
Of course. I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
But the big thing is that the government, you don't want the government in there because they're just going to, let's be real, government and video games, they're probably not going to handle it very well. But the big thing is that nobody, no ESRB, no other group came in and said, hey, this loot box thing, it's got to stop or we got to regulate it. And so now the government has to come in because a lot of cases have come up. And I'm sure that this is just one state out of what probably will be many. I mean, Europe
And
is...
in Europe, there's a lot that there it's considered gambling.
Yeah.
And I know Overwatch had to modify their loot boxes in Europe to guarantee that it was the same chance to get a legendary skin than a common skin. They had to say, yes, it's the exact same chance. They're all the same because if you're not, you're manipulating the system to make more money.
What do
Does
you
that
mean
make
the
sense?
exact same chance? That seems kind of skewed. Like,
No. So you have the same chance to get a legendary skin in Overwatch than to get an epic skin or a common skin or a rare skin.
it's
the
just
same
that
chance.
the's more commons or whatever, so it's the pool is more diluted,
it's
or
just yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
because that seems strange.
Well, I know that's what happened in Europe with Overwatch. I
Um,
think. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure.
ultimately, the whole point of what this bill is supposed to do, because it's not supposed to go and get everyone their money back whose kids spent $10,000 on Battlefront 2. You know, what it is it's supposed to put at least a wrench in the system, because let's be real, if they put a regulation, it's probably going to be some kind of advisory notice on a game that, like, big sticker that says, warning, this game contains loot boxes which have been determined by the state of Washington to be considered gambling, you know, must be purchased by someone over the age of 21 or over, you know. So that's not going to make the system, I mean, it might make the game developers kind of question if they really want to put a loot box system in their game, which I don't have a problem with. I don't really.
Yeah, I think the core, like the conclusion, I guess, of this, or I'm not, the core of it is that someone is actually doing something about it.
Yeah.
And people are like, let's take a look at that because it has been exploited before.
Yeah. I mean, hell, Battlefront 2 recently, like, I think, like, in the last few days, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but they just came out and said in the next few months they're reinstating their old system, which, like, all that fuss that happened doesn't matter now. So
I'm sure they're still gonna get shit on.
the internet is a fickle group. You know, they lose interest pretty quick. I mean, look at what happened with net neutrality. As soon as the vote passed, there was still more to be done, but everyone just kind of was like, eh.
Well, the thing is, there's nothing to be done, right?
No, there is. There
Net
absolutely are still
neutrality.
fights to be made. I mean, like California just passed, at least I think all of California just passed that if you want to deal with the state and you're an ISP, you have to protect net neutrality. If you don't, the
good.
state can't deal with you. They can still do that privately, like with private consumers, but that's a huge chunk of business, which means that if a small ISP is like, we'll protect net neutrality if you'll deal with us, the state, then, you know, point being, the state, yeah, that is a thing. For those of you, Lakers fan, just put in the chat that, wait, they're doing that? Yes, California has recently passed legislation, or at least it's in the
California's
works.
been known to do that a
Yeah.
lot, not just with internet, with everything, especially with the current administration.
Yeah.
They've been saying, okay, you can do it that way federally, but we're going to do it the same way we've been doing it.
And they're like, if you have a problem, come over here.
Yeah.
Come over here
Yeah.
and talk to me about it. And they're not going to.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we can move on soon.
Yeah.
The thing is, what I think this will be good for is that it does two things. Number one, it makes it, because I've always felt that in the situations where, like, a parent's like, my kid spent $10,000 on Clash Royale. I'm like, you didn't talk to them about this before just putting them in front of the game. You know, that this was a real possibility. You know, this kind of is on you. What it's going to do is, at least on the purchasing side, because now kids won't be able to just go buy the games. Mom has to go, or dad has to go and pick up that game. And when they do, they're going to see that notice, this game contains loot boxes determined by the state of Washington to be gambling, whatever. And they're going to go either one of two things. I'm not buying you this game, which will hurt sales. We'll get to that in a second. Or number two, they'll talk to their kid about it and be like, I don't want you buying 50,000 of these things. If you do, I'm going to whoop your ass, you know? Like,
Lakers fan, we got it wrong. He's talking about EA. Yes, they are going back to their old model. They said since they changed it that, we're just doing this temporarily. We're going to go back to our old model. Like back when there was all that outrage 2 months ago or something like that.
Yeah, they did. They said that they were going to go back to it, and now they're.
You know why? Because they didn't want to hurt their bottom line, because video games make the most money during Christmas.
Yeah,
it's like 70% of retail for video games.
70% of retail. 70% of retail.
You're right. Yeah,
is the
retail,
holidays.
Yeah.
If you've ever worked retail, you know that. Ultimately. Secondly, the other thing that this would do is it would make game companies question if they want to put loot boxes in their games because of that exact situation where a parent might decide not to buy their game, and that hurts the bottom line, you know? And if I were a game developer, I probably would say, let's find a different model other than loot boxes that gives us kind of a continuous revenue stream that, you know, doesn't have to, you know, then maybe some other new bullshit model is going to come out, you know? Spin the wheel, you know, but like until new legislation comes out on that. Either way, I think it's a step in the right direction, at least.
Yeah. You want to move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
Segue
into
Warcraft,
great
maybe?
news. World of Warcraft new patch came. It's not a patch, really, is it? It's just
it is a patch.
Patch.
I think it's a patch.
It's content edition is the big
content.
Thing. Yeah. So
it's not that much. But I think it's big.
Well, it's big in the sense that number one, now you can pre-order the next expansion, which is always exciting because then you get a pseudo release date. What is it? Before September 29th or something?
They said before September. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is pretty standard. I feel like that's been what they said about Warlords. That's what they said about,
Speaking about that, didn't they say a couple years ago that they wanted to release a new expansion every year?
Yeah, they did.
And then they haven't. You know what? I don't even mind.
I don't care.
Because of the shit show that was Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
And the massive improvement that Legion was. You know? They did a good job on Legion. So
yeah. It's really So I started playing again because of this.
Mm-hmm. And, so we should probably say what they did. So number one, first off, Battle for Azeroth can be pre-ordered, which gives you a level 110 boost. To boost any character up to 110. Secondly, allied races are now available except for Dark Iron Dwarves and Zandalari Trolls, right?
Yeah,
everything
those are coming out with the expansion, or maybe a little bit later.
Everything else is unlockable though, right? It's Void
Elves. So for Alliance, it's Void Elves and Lightforged Draenei. And then for the Horde is
Nightborn and High Mountain
Nightborn and then High Mountain Tauren. Yeah, High Mountain Tauren are pretty easy to get. You pretty much, if you have flying, you have them unlocked. But you have to unlock them. Like you can't just make a new character.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to me. It's kind of like with Death Knights because like at like a level 50, it used to be at least you had to have a level 55 character to unlock the ability to make.
It's still
a Death
that
Knight.
way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, the change was that it's on one server. You have to have a 55 plus. It's like because it used to be you used to have a 55 on that server. Now it's just you have to have a 55.
You have to have a 55, yeah.
So, which is weird because like it's kind of strange to be like in the concept of like you need to unlock content in WoW, unlock the secret character, you know, which, I mean, I think that's a neat concept. I don't have a really big problem with it because it's not like it's barring important content. It's just another race and a sub race at that.
It's really. Going back to like the loot crate things, it's really just cosmetic. There's no change. It's just.
Oh well, like, it's not entirely cosmetic. Yeah, they do have different
but
racials.
It is though. Like racials are like.
Yeah, they kind of made racials kind of.
The only racial that's like, wow, this is good, is the human one, and that's it.
I don't know. Some of them are okay.
I don't know.
Dude, Nightborn got the ability to detect invisible stuff and illusions. An illusion.
Really?
Yeah, that's their racial.
That's hilarious.
That's their racial. An illusion. What are you hiding?
I would say the High Mountain Tauren one is it's like a charge, like a warrior kind of charge,
Really?
and it does a shitload of damage. Yeah,
Does it really? That's kind of
Yeah.
cool. Another gap close. Maybe
it's a
put
gap
it
close
put it on a race that or like a class that doesn't have a lot of good gap closes.
on a warlock.
Why would you want to gap close as a warlock?
Joking.
That'd be funny. I'm gonna run up and just light myself on fire.
On like a marksman hunter.
Yeah, dude. Definitely, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Did they add anything else? Did they have like?
Well, they added a lot of quest lines.
I'd
They
imagine.
added the quest lines to unlock them,
Mhm.
obviously,
Yeah.
and they added a stupidly long quest line to Soromark to unlock the. So there's two different requirements you need to do to unlock them. You need to have prerequisite requirements to do the quest line, and then you need to do the quest line. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, there's prerequisites, and then there's just like
Are-
doing the thing to unlock.
Are the prerequisites just
Reputation
reputation?
and finish their respective quest lines. But for the Nightborn, they added like 200 more quests, like another quest line that's stupidly long. And which mine should be done by now actually, because it's just stupid emissary quests or not. What are they called? The follower quests.
Follower missions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that dumb shit. So yeah, but that
Other
should
than
be
that,
able
it's
to
just
unlock
it's just
Nightborn.
allied races and pre-orders.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
they
kind
have
of
the
I
exalted.
always love when they add pre-orders and the ability to boost to 110, like or the,
Yeah.
the max level, because like I want a Shadow Priest, but like I don't want to level a priest. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, I made a warrior. Never had a high level warrior before. I have no idea how to fucking play him, but I made him. Like it's a free 110, so
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Anything else you want to say about WoW? We didn't have to say
No,
very
it's
much about
pretty small. Like it's like I like it. I think it's big. I know a lot of our friends were actually super mad about this that they released it before the expansion came out. They're releasing like
that. A half-ass
they're like
patch.
a half-ass patch, but I don't think so because I don't think this is meant to be a huge patch. It's just to be like, hey, get excited for the next expansion. It's just like a marketing move. That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean,
And
like you're
Blizzard's pretty good at it.
well, because I'm actually surprised, like some of the like more end game, like just stuff to do, because like when I realized that Antorus was like done, you know, like the last raid was done, and I'm like, it's gonna be like another like year before the
Well, they always do the pre-expansion patches.
yeah, which
Yeah.
is the like there's a lot they're adding, which is cool. I always think that's
Yeah, like for Legion, they did the invasions, which were okay. They were fun. Yeah.
cool. Next one.
Yeah, I think that's it with WoW.
All right.
Okay,
So next up, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin mining. We're gonna talk. There's a lot to say about that, but we're not gonna talk just about crypto. We're gonna talk more in the implications that it has on gamers, namely the cost of entering into PC gaming. Because of course, being a Bitcoin miner, you need GPUs and RAM, and you're going to buy a lot of them, and the powerful ones, which means that they're going to sell off. Demand is going to be high, which means supply is going to be low, which means that cost
And-
is going to be high.
This is not being done by the companies that make them. This is being done by the people that sell them,
The retailers,
the retailers. Exactly.
which, I mean, you've got a couple kind of retailers, which there are some that are doing it for like that. They're not exactly cool with the way that, because like I'm sure, I don't know if you've ever been on Reddit and you've seen there's this 10 graphics cards, these 1080 Ti's, 10 of them just came in and they all got bought by one dude, and he's a miner, and they're just gonna spend the rest of their card lives as Bitcoin mining, you know, which is like to each their own. Like I don't have a problem with Bitcoin miners explicitly, like it's another currency. I think it's a neat concept. I if I had more of a disposable income, I would invest in crypto. I just am kind of I'm a young college student, don't have a lot of dinero to spend. So, but what I want to talk about is that a lot of graphics card companies have come out, at least Nvidia has come out and said, we don't want all of our cards being sold to Bitcoin miners, and they are asking retailers to either to like put a limitation on how many people,
How many you can buy?
one
Yeah,
or
you
two
get-
per customer, you
You
know.
know what the retailers are saying? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, well, not
gonna
all of
sell
them,
everybody.
but like Fry's, Newegg,
Fries.
Newegg
Okay,
will be like,
I'm
nah,
looking at Newegg
if
right
they're
now.
gonna pay for them, we'll sell them to them.
There's a 6-pack of NVIDIA GTX 1080s on NVIDIA for $7,500 right now. 6 of them for $7,500, which retail is $850 for this card. for each one.
Yeah,
That's
which is
a
so
huge markup.
all these GPUs, at least the higher end ones, are being marked up drastically because people will still pay for them because they're profitable. You know, you get a return of investment in not too long with these cards, which means that, like, I recently helped a friend build his PC, and he bought his parts pretty much right before the major upswing of Bitcoin, which thank God for him. If you bought your parts around Black Friday of last year, good for you. You dodged the massive
dodged
cost spike.
The bubble.
Yeah. So cards that, again, like Sal said, that should retail for around $850 are selling of 1K up. And
yeah, there's no single 1080 under $1,000.
It's
I'm looking at it.
It's
Not a single
ridiculous.
one.
And one of my problems is that I have always been a big. I mean, once you switch to PC gaming, you kind of get a really great appreciation for it, because when you realize that, like, buying your first PC can be expensive. Yes, you can spend, usually a console's like what does a Xbox One go for now? Like 400, 300? What is it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think PS4 is 500, Xbox is 400.
Okay.
Like that.
So around 400, 500. Building a new PC to be able to keep up with modern games is going to cost you around, if you're on a budget, 700.
1,000. Okay.
If you're on a budget,
$1,000, including a monitor, keyboard, everything.
Yeah, so that's a budget build too. If you want a reasonably, like, powerful gaming build, you're gonna be looking at more like 1,000 on just your rig.
My computer, I built it, and I haven't. The only thing I had is added RAM. I built it 6-7 years ago. It cost me like $1,500 for the whole thing, everything, and it runs everything fine. Like, I don't have a problem. Obviously, it could be better because there's so much better shit out there, but I don't have a problem with it.
Well, and not just that, the cost of building it before, we just got a follow. Thank you to Hurricane Man Hurricane E-Man for the follow.
E-Man.
Thank you for the follow, Hurricane E-Man. Appreciate your viewership. So what I was saying is that when you build a PC, when I built my PC, my card was like $400 or $500, which made me left, because I had a budget of about $1,000, which meant that I could spend the other $500 on the rest of my rig, and I could build a computer. And that cost hurt at first, but gaming, when I experienced my first summer sale at Steam, I was like, oh my God, it's so cheap. You don't even realize that games can cost like $2 for a reasonably good game, and you're like, oh my God, this is so much cheaper. I have saved probably, if I compare the cost of buying the games that I have, not to mention a lot of the games that I enjoy and love aren't available on console, the costs are drastically lower. Over time, you save money being a PC gamer.
You don't save money. You just don't spend as much.
You don't spend as much, which, if you want to look at it like a, I don't know, a fashionista in a department store, it's saving money, 50% off on a $700 coat. Yeah, you're still spending money, but you're spending less. And as a gamer, let's be real. As a gamer, and you're a gamer too, you're going to buy games. You are. So if you're spending $15 on a game rather than $60 or $40 if it's older, you're still like, okay, like, this is still saving money. You knew you were going to buy that game. You're saving money. What has always been the issue for everyone who thinks about getting into PC gaming is the high cost of entry, because maintaining a PC gaming habit is affordable. It's entering into PC gaming. And with Bitcoin mining, the wall just got 10 feet higher, It's ridiculous. You've got people who are just looking to make money, who are closing out an entire section of potential, gamers. And it makes me sad, because I think that a lot of people, when they switch over to PCs, they come to appreciate what PC gaming has to offer.
I do think, though, and this is even getting into deeper in the crypto topic, I think crypto's going to crash. That's my prediction. This is Sal Stats, so literally do not use me for financial advice.
Sell. Sal says sell. Yeah.
So I think people are going to just be giving these cards away when that happens.
Which I am stoked for.
Everything's overpriced. But the thing is, these people are making a shitload of money. They're making you're buying 6 graphics cards. They're making you $50 a day. It takes just like a month to make your money back.
Yeah. And well, what's cool for I am stoked actually because I agree with you. I am almost certain that the cryptocurrency bubble is going to pop at some point in the reasonably
I don't think
close
it'll
future.
pop. Like, and it's not like the housing market.
It'll
but
drop.
Go down.
It'll definitely drop, and certainly a large number of miners are going to lose their profitability. I mean, hell, how many people do we know personally that are like, oh, with the new drop in Bitcoin prices from where they used to be, it's already slightly less profitable. You know, it's going to reach a point where a lot of these miners are going to be like, it's not profitable anymore, and they're all these cards. They're going to sell them, which means that...
It happened with Bitcoin. It'd be like, it's not worth to buy. People, by the way, people are not mining Bitcoin. They're mining the smaller coins. They're mining like what's called Tron and like small ones that you barely... No, Litecoin's pretty expensive. I don't think it's profitable to mine Litecoin right now. But, I mean, I don't fucking know.
Anyway, point standing is that I see a potential market crash. I mean, I'm less of an economist than you are, Sal, but I think that you get all this up and up, eventually the market is going to at least drop, and the profitability is going to drop as well, and you're going to get a lot of miners who have a bunch of cards who have no purpose for them, and they're going to go back into the market, which will actually be really good for PC gaming, because you're going to get a massive influx of supply of cards, and you're going to get a lot... Well, the only issue is that the problem will be, will there be people to buy those cards? You know what I mean? Because if you flood the market with the cards, then what's that going to do to the economy of it? Blah, 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 blah. You know, but I think that if you're thinking about buying a PC or building one, like Lakers fan is talking about right here, there's a reasonable chance that in the next year, the cost of cards is going to drop drastically. Definitely don't build right now. That's for sure. Do not build right now. Don't buy RAM and don't buy GPUs. And
Or CPUs.
Or CPUs. I recommend don't buy parts, because if you're not going to finish your computer in a
unless
reasonable amount of
you
time...
buy like a case, then don't buy anything.
Yeah, because if your cards come dead, you won't know until you build the computer, and that could be past their warranty, which would suck for you. Ultimately, I think that crypto... I don't like that there's a even higher barrier. The biggest problem with PC gaming has always been that entry cost, you know, and it's even higher now, and it sucks because, like, I am a huge proponent for PC gaming. I love gaming. I used to play console because, I mean, when you're a kid, you don't know how to build a PC. But then when I switched over, you come to appreciate it. I keep forgetting to change the topic. I suck at this.
Loot Box Bill. That sounds like a cool, like a cartoon character. Loot Box Bill.
Loot Box Bill. Hey kids, you want to lose $500? Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say about crypto? I mean, I just changed the topic, but we can move on.
Yeah, I don't know.
I did want to say, because I forgot about this. Not all retailers are saying, screw you. If they're going to pay for them, we're going to sell it to them. A lot of them are supporting what NVIDIA, and I don't know if AMD has come out and said anything about it, but I know NVIDIA said it, about like the limiting sales. Micro Center is already limiting card sales in a lot of its locations. They're saying limit of 1 or 2 per customer, because it's reasonable to say 2.
Micro Center has like 3 stores. It's like the impact is minimal.
Well,
we need, like, for them to make a change. It's like you need Newegg, you need Fry's, you need, I don't know,
Tiger Direct.
Sells. I don't know what that is, but sure.
Tiger Direct's another company that sells. But another thing that I mean, like, I get the 1 or 2 limit per customer. That's whatever. That's cool. One of the neat solutions that I saw that they're doing when I was reading about this was that some locations are actually offering gaming packages. In the sense that, like, oh, you want to buy a card, they'll package a GPU that these are reserved for being bought with this package. You can't just buy the card.
Video games or peripherals or something like that.
It's peripherals, or it's like other components like RAM or a CPU. I heard on Reddit, this is hearsay, some comment, so take it with a grain of salt, but someone said that basically one location originally didn't want to sell to a guy, like he was looking to build a rig, and he's like, I needed to buy a GPU, and like they had one, but they were hesitant to sell it to me, and he was like, at least at the discounted cost for buying it at a gaming. That's another thing that a lot of retailers are doing, Micro Center's doing. If you are buying it for gaming, they will sell it at MSRP price. They will sell it at the cost that it's supposed to be, at $850, which is dope. but like you need to be able to prove that either by selling it in the package, or one of the guys said that he showed receipts of the other parts he was building and spoke to a manager and pretty much just said, I'm building a gaming PC. Please sell me this card at that cost. And the manager was like, okay, which I thought was cool. I love it because like I get that corporate is this big old money making machine, you know. I love it when big reasonably sized companies are there to actually help their customer, actually are considerate to what customers really are looking for. Because you look at Newegg and stuff and they're looking about their you know, their money. That's what they care. Because if people are buying the cards and they can sell them at a higher price, why the hell not? Whereas Micro Center is like, we are trying to provide for a customer base. You know, we're trying to provide for PC gamers. Bless you. Aside from that, anything else you want to say on crypto, Sal?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, the last topic that we have in terms of talking about games news for today is one second, because I'm actually going to change the topic this time, the Xbox Game Pass. So they announced this last week, actually. I didn't get a chance to see it until this week. Basically, in a couple words, Xbox Game Pass is Netflix for video games on the Xbox One arcade. Okay, that needs to be specified, because honestly, if this were offered like just as like a global system, I would leap on that. Like if you told me essentially Xbox for video games, you know, Netflix for video games, I would say how much. And if your answer is less than like $40 a month, I'm probably gonna say okay, because that is a great, awesome system. So basically what Xbox Game Pass is that when you pay, it's a $10 a month cost. It's not included with Xbox Live. So if you want to play some of these games online, which some of the games they offer are online only, then you would need to also pay for Xbox Live. This is a separate charge. It's $9.99 a month, and it gets you access to what they're promising right now is all of their first-party games. So Microsoft-owned titles, things like Halo and Gears of War and other games like that. They also Sea of Thieves, which is what they talked about, will be included. And you, as long as you are subscribed to the service, this game is yours to play. Full game. Just pay $10 a month. All of these games and a lot of other ones too. So all of their first party games, and they're also talked about licensing other games potentially, which could be really interesting. It's early on. I don't know I think it's implemented now, so I think it's available to actually purchase. But I think it's a really cool model. So yeah. So Sal, if you want to add anything.
I know some people have tried to make similar system, but it was with like hard cases. It was like old school Netflix. Gamefly. That's what I was thinking of. It was like old Netflix that we'd be like, okay, I want this game this month, and they would literally send you a case of the game.
Yeah,
and you have to send it back. But this is all digital, which is really nice.
Which I remember the days. I don't know if you, I don't know if you experienced it, because I know you grew up in Mexico for part of the way.
Hey.
Don't call. Well, I'm not gonna call you out on where you're from. I don't know if you grew up going to a Blockbuster, and like your parents would be like, you can rent a game, you know, on top of the movie they would rent, because Blockbuster used to rent out games too, and that used to be really cool. Except for when I was a kid, I used to piss off my older brother because I would always want to rent the same crappy game, and he's like, can we try a game that we don't have or that we haven't played? And I'm like, no, I want to play this game. And sometimes I would get to pick, and I'd pick the same crappy game. Anyway, Gamefly, I'm glad that you brought up Gamefly, because I think that when I first heard about it, Gamefly, I was like, that sounds cool. And then I realized, not really, because I don't want to feel pressured to play the game that I've rented. Because, I mean, how many times have you gone to sit down to go game, and you're not sure what you want to play, and, like, you've switched between one or two games, or you've played a game that you haven't played in a while, you know? Obviously, we all have our times where you're like, I just got a new game, and I'm like, when I got Stardew Valley, I played the hell out of it, obviously. Every time I sat down to play a game, I played Stardew Valley. But sometimes you switch between games, so Gamefly's model kind of was like, meh, because then it meant you had to send it back and wait for a new game to come in, and blah, 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 blah. And if you didn't want to send it back, you had to play the game that you had. Otherwise, you're just paying for a game that you aren't playing, and it sucks. Whereas this new model, because streaming is possible now, streaming games, this new model supports actually, like, play what you want. Play whatever
Yeah.
you want that we have available to us. Which I think I would love to see this model catch on, because I mean, I don't have an Xbox One. It also is only available on Xbox One. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't have an Xbox One. There are some games that they have listed that I'm like, oh, I did want to kind of try that. But also their first party games, I'm like, eh. Not everything I'm really keen on. I've never been huge into Gears. But that's just me. I really hope that this pioneers something and creates something good, and like it sets up a model that other companies are like, hey.
I guarantee you PlayStation's going to release the same thing.
Of course. I mean, PlayStation already kind of had that, didn't they? Like, well, they would give you like 2 games for the month or whatever if you were subscribed to the PlayStation Network.
Oh, no. Since PlayStation Network started, you get free games.
Okay.
All the time. But they're shitty games. But
anyway, I'm hoping that an actual Netflix type system comes out where you pay us, because like we mentioned earlier with the loot boxes system, today's day and age, the model of spending $60 on a game and never paying for it again isn't really feasible with the expectations that people have. We talked a couple episodes ago about how if you really want a game to be about Stardew Valley, our first episode, if you want a game to be big, a lot of times multiplayer is a must, because it's kind of a standard of the genre nowadays. It's a standard of the medium that very rarely are games single player oriented, and if they are, they need to be really carefully crafted to do that. And those games, look at any game that's super profitable, like really is a big cash cow, it has some kind of ongoing monetary sustaining thing, because like games on Steam,
you use cash out wrong, but that's
Okay.
okay. I'll let it slide.
okay, sorry, I didn't mean to
It's
use
a
cash
Rising Star, we call them. But
Okay, Rising Star, whatever. Point withstanding, a lot of the big games nowadays that are looking to make a lot of money have multiplayer included. And it's this kind of question of like, how are we going to sustain that cost? And a lot of them have done loot boxes. A lot of them have done subscription services, other kinds of microtransactions, which are reasonable. Okay, I don't have a problem with most of them if they're done well. I mean, most games don't push me away with those models. I mean, hell, I play Hearthstone, which that one's as on the edge between a shitty model and a decent model as you can get. I would lean towards shitty model, but it still keeps me coming back. Card games, right? Ultimately, this model I think could be profitable. I'm not sure that.
Oh, it's gotta be profitable.
The issue though is that
is it a good service?
Is it a good service? But secondly, it
I can
works.
try it. I have an Xbox if you want me to try it.
If you want to try it and come back and share on Twitter and whatnot.
I'm sure they'll have a free month trial.
Maybe.
Check
Yeah,
it out.
I think they do. I don't think it's a month. I think it's like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Either way, I hope this model catches on, because if any, execs are out there that have massive servers and some means of connecting with game developers and industries, I would happily pay. What would you pay? Like $30 a month if they could get a larger game.
Every game out there.
Not
I would
every
think,
game, but like because that's ridiculous. But like
I would
a
I would pay
reasonable
like
selection of
$30
games.
to $60.
$60 a month.
Yeah, depending on the selection, how big it is.
Yeah, I would say if you
Because
go ahead.
I think I spent that much on video games a month, anyways, just with subscriptions and buying new games. So if I can have access to most of them,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Or even like, what would be interesting? Not just like AAA, because AAA companies are going to be a little hesitant about buying into this. I think the only reason that Microsoft says first party, because they can
They
they can say,
tell their studio,
give us this
you're
game.
putting your fucking game on there.
Yeah, and-
Otherwise, you no more money for you.
Yeah.
That's
So,
yeah.
but other AAA companies, like Activision doesn't have no. $10 a month for access to our game? No.
Really? Are you saying Activision doesn't do that? World of Warcraft?
I'm saying that
Yeah,
instead
okay.
of selling their game,
Yeah.
World of Warcraft goes, haha, buy our game, also pay us more. So Activision
Yeah.
Blizzard's like that. To be fair, they make games that we enjoy, and we pay them
Yeah.
willingly because they're games that we're willing to pay for, which is what I'm talking about. They have to have games that you're willing to pay for. Secondly, what if, just a thought, because look at the Humble Bundle, right? all these indie
Is
games.
this still a thing?
Yeah, Humble Bundle is still a thing. I mean, I've bought. That's how I got Hotline Miami, which I love Hotline
I don't know what
Miami.
that is.
You never played? Okay, we'll talk about that some other time. Hotline Miami and like all these other games that I've bought. Humble Bundle, it's like the way. If you don't know about Humble Bundle, you should check it out. Basically, indie developers
Ooh.
donate their games. They have a really big one right now, actually. I think.
Dude, this Humble Bundle is lit.
Yeah, I
It's
actually
all
was,
all of Rockstar.
I was
Hey, you
thinking.
pay $1, you get all the old Grand Theft Autos. You pay $10, you get most of their new games. You pay $15, you get every fucking game they've ever had.
So, yeah,
What?
which is a steal. Hey, remember we were talking about the cost of PC gaming and buying games? This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Humble Bundle, check it out, Google it.
And
Basically,
they've sold 107,000 of them. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
so what they do is they let you name your price. And if you pay even like just like 5 cents, you get usually like the bottom tier, which is like a selection of random games.
The bottom tier is $1 on this one.
Yeah, but okay, bottom tier is $1. Sometimes when the bundles are like more indie games that you haven't heard of, it'll be as low as like 5 cents to buy in. And your money actually a part of it goes to charity, which I think is awesome. But basically you pay a small amount and you get a big bundle of games. If anything were to do a system of streaming games, I think Humble Bundle could do it because they have connection to indie developers. Indie developers are worrying about getting their names out there, right? Getting their development companies out there, getting their game titles out there, getting attention because they don't have AAA advertising budgets. Humble Bundle is great for them.
It's for charity.
Yeah, and it's for charity, which is great. Ultimately, you know, if anything, we're gonna be able to pull off this model of paying a monthly subscription and being able to get games. I think Humble Bundle could pull it off because I would happily pay for that because I love a lot of indie games I play. I love because I think that video games are a great art medium. I think they're really underestimated as a medium for art. Which I would talk about actually in Game Club today. We'll get to that in just a minute.
Good segue.
Yeah, so I think that I guess I could just segue right from there. Humble Bundle, just to say Humble Bundle, if you're listening, think about it. But yeah,
Think about it.
Think about it.
Think about
it. keep in touch. You know, video games are really a great.
We'll take our cut. Thank you. We'll send you a check.
Yeah. We'll put you on that side over there. I always forget the thing is mirrored. So, yeah, right there. So I have always thought that video games are a vastly underestimated medium for art. There have been some really great games that I've played that have been fantastic artistic experiences. On top of being fun games to play, but really, you know, just really good artistic stories or representations or things of that matter. Which brings us into our next section, of course, which is going to be Games Club. And this week, we played the game Celeste. Now, screen's going to be black for a little bit because I forgot to cut off the first bit. That is, yeah, it's just black for a little bit. It should pop up in just a minute if it doesn't.
Fancy.
And we'll take care of it. So, Celeste is... Who made Celeste?
Who made Celeste? I probably
Yeah.
did.
There we go. Okay, so Celeste is a platformer that... best approximation for those of you who know this game, Super Meat Boy. It is very Super Meat Boy-esque. It's got kind of a platforming, a platforming feature that is very death-oriented. And honestly, I kind of want to just let the audio play for like at least the beginning, so you get to hear like kind of the music and the atmosphere. Here, let me go ahead and tell me if the volume's okay on stream. I'm gonna slowly turn it up. I'm going to put it probably around like there. If it's too loud, let me know. Because I think that the soundtrack on this game is fantastic. So really quick, you'll get to see the gameplay and see kind of how it is. Is the audio okay? I don't know if you can hear it. Anyway. Are you there, Sal?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, perfect.
Down a little bit.
So this game is really a wonderful artistic platformer, which has a great story behind it, and I want to let the audio play for the talk just for a little bit because I like the way that they talk to each other.
That's how they talk.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
Big guys here. Woo!
Welcome, B guy. Welcome back. Glad you're here. We missed you.
I was bowling. Probably riveting.
Anyway, so also look at the little corners up here, the faces that they're making. I think that with even just this little square, you get so much expression about who these characters are and how they're feeling in the moment. I love the conversations in this game. It's not a huge part of the game, which I think is great for the flow of the game. Most of the time, you're playing, you know? And when you're interrupted to do a conversation, it doesn't mince words. It doesn't waste time. But you'll get to see the gameplay in just a minute. Just long story short, it's a platformer. You're a girl climbing a mountain for untold reasons, some kind of internal personal reasons. You can climb, you can jump, and here you get to see that you can also... This crow shows up a lot. You can also dash, which is important because die. You can die
a lot.
A lot. You will die.
This game is fucking hard. It's okay. Not an easy game.
So just to wrap up, it's a platformer. It's got those mechanics. You can grab on the walls and climb. You can wall jump. You've got that dash. There are a couple of other mechanics that they introduce in each level that kind of throw you around and throw you for a loop, and you need to kind of figure out how they work. And that's part of where the difficulty comes in, because I want to talk about the difficulty, right? Number one, which Sal learned very well. Why don't you tell them what is number one most important rule when you're playing this game?
You playing with a keyboard? Go fuck yourself.
Don't do that.
That's what's happening. Don't do that. Get a fucking controller. It's literally impossible with a keyboard. I died in this screen that you guys are watching right now. Probably, or like you guys just saw it probably. That Jonathan did in one try. I did. It took me like 100 times. I'm
Pro tip: get a controller.
I was texting Jonathan and I was like, "Yo, fuck you! Why did you make me get this stupid ass fucking game? It's a piece of shit." And it's not. I just was playing with the keyboard.
Yeah, don't.
No, but it's so much better with a controller.
Yeah. So you can see one of the things that this game does well, because like you mentioned, you will die a lot. You'll notice that every time that I die, like right here, the load in to start the level, you don't go back far, which is really important. In games like this, you need to do this right. If you're going to make your player die a lot, you need to make sure that, number one, they don't go back far. Number two, they also should not have to spend a long time staring at a screen. You have died. It feels bad, and it wastes time. Especially if the flow of the game is important, which in the case of Celeste, the flow of the game is crucial, because you need to... every time that you start a level, you're kind of exploring the level as you go about it, and you're probably going to die on a screen a couple times. And a lot of times, especially as the game gets harder, these first few levels aren't too hard.
Dude, you were breezing through these. I'm watching the stream right now. I had a different experience.
To be fair, I play games like this a lot, which is what I was going to talk about. As far as difficulty goes, I can appreciate the concept of like there's an important thing to talk about called the Dark Souls phenomenon, which I coined that term myself. I don't know if anyone's ever used it before. Dark Souls phenomenon, where everyone is...
that was you. That was all you.
That was all me. I made Dark Souls. The concept that this game that you're about to play is gonna be really hard, and you're gonna die a lot, and that's gonna be fun, and you're gonna like it. I actually don't love Dark Souls because I feel like the death mechanics are kind of disruptive to the game. I'm sorry if you love Dark Souls. I haven't jumped in enough to really enjoy it. But for me, in experiences, when it comes to games where difficulty is part of the gameplay, it's not just about experiencing the game, then I feel like you have to be really careful when you try and make your game purposefully hard. Because in the case of Dark Souls, it's just disruptive to me when I will like... Especially if it's been a long time since the last bonfire in Dark Souls, it's like... I have to go back through all the same crap again. This screen really took you for a ride, didn't it? It did, yeah. I wanted that strawberry, man.
So this screen is where I first started using the controller, and it took me 2 tries.
Did you get the strawberry?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, then I guess I just sucked at that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is cool is that... Remember how we were talking about aesthetic and graphics? This game, fantastic aesthetic.
Terrible graphics. shitty game, terrible graphics, right?
Great
Yeah,
aesthetic.
I'm joking.
One of the things that what I really want to say about the difficulty is that part of the reason why I also don't like Dark Souls is that I feel like I'm pulling teeth just to play the game. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like I would have to be working so hard just to experience the game that you made for me. And I don't want to have to work that hard. When I'm supposed to be playing a game to enjoy it, don't make me work so hard. This game, it's hard. But at no point did I ever feel like I was struggling just to experience what the game wanted me to experience. Sure, I would die on a screen a couple times, especially going for the more difficult strawberries, but the gameplay...
I'm gonna let you finish. Okay.
I was just say, I never felt like I was pulling teeth just to experience the game. I always felt like if I died, made sense, and I'll go back at it again. The
Like, you never go, stupid fucking game made me kill myself. No, it's
No.
like, you suck at this game.
You're like, shit, I sucked at that. I missed my jump. You know.
Yeah.
What do you want to say? I don't want to dominate this talk
Yeah.
because I want to hear your input.
So they're looking at those little green gems, which I liked about this game is that they don't tell you a lot. They just tell you how to play it. But a lot of the mechanics you have to figure out for yourself.
Mhm.
Like that green gem that lets you double jump or double dash.
Mhm.
It took me so long. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it gives you an
Yeah.
extra dash, which is
Yeah.
important. You only get one dash per feet touch on ground. Is important, and also you can climb walls and hold on to them, but not
Well, you'll
forever.
get tired.
You'll
Yeah.
get tired, and it gets refreshed whenever you touch your feet on the ground. So
Oh, there we go. A little bitch ass here. What's his name?
Theo, Theo is a great character. Actually, I love the conversations that you have with this character because I just love the conversations in this game. And this guy, like I said, these squares communicate so much about the characters. I mean, Madeline, which is the character that you play as, Madeline kind of always has her shoulders up. She's kind of withdrawn. You already kind of know who she is based off of just a couple conversations. I learned, because I didn't really know much about this game going in, I learned who Madeline was in this conversation and the conversation she had before, and probably at the end of this chapter I had a good sense, and it just kind of develops as it goes along. Which that's another thing I wanted to mention about this game. It's a good game. It's a fun game to play, on top of having a really, really good story. Like, really enjoyable atmosphere and story and world experience. It's more than just gameplay. Which, you know, comparable to like Super Meat Boy. The lack of story in Super Meat Boy is almost comical. It's always you're chasing your girlfriend, and you know, there's like,
And then
you just do levels. Do levels. Keep doing levels. But yeah, here you've got more than that. It's also, you have the game to experience as well as the atmosphere. The music is phenomenal. I probably should turn on the music a little bit. I don't want to distract from our conversation. Oh wait, no, I didn't want to miss this part because he does this quote that I love. Anyway, all that to say, here we go. This is the line that I love. This made me laugh super hard when I was playing.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different than Jonathan. That I don't really play games for story that much. I just play for the gameplay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, go back. Okay, yeah. So also that's why I don't want to dominate, because I love this game actually, and I'm gonna keep playing it even after this. I really want to beat it. I like the story, but also because I love games like this. It's very similar to Super Meat Boy, which I also beat. Very similar to Hotline Miami, which is another game that's fast paced, die a lot. And when you die, it's kind of your fault, you know, and you don't feel bad about that. There's a lot of games like that. I love these games. Sal, these aren't his type of games. So what your experience from someone who doesn't love these type of games, what do you think about it?
It was a good game. I really enjoyed it, even though I don't like. I was talking to you earlier. This is not the kind of game I played, and I still had a great time. I was telling Jonathan. He asked me, "Well, why would you rank this?" And I'm like, if you think about, put it in perspective that this is not my kind of game, I would put it in like an 8 or a 9. If you put it like with the kind of games that I like a 6 or 7. But that's just me, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great game. Like I really like the atmosphere that it gave you, And
Was it
I like that it didn't tell you a lot about the game. You have to figure
Mhm.
out for yourself, which is
Mhm.
always kind of nice. It
which
can be nice, and
Mhm.
it can be fucking annoying because there's some
Mhm.
games that are like figure out stupid, and you're like, what? Fuck you.
well, and what I think is really really good about, because it's part of the experience. It's part of the difficulty in the learning, because they give you the couple of controls you have. You have your wall grab and climb, you have your jump, you have your dash, and you have your wall jump, if you want to call that something different from the jump. That's it. Those are the only controls you get. You don't get upgrades later. You don't get like a ice climber's pick that makes you hold on longer. That's it. That's all you
I
get.
thought, well, honestly, I thought that's where the game was going. When I first started, I'm like, okay, when do I get more abilities?
Yeah, when do you get like a second jump? When do you get the ability to
Yeah,
climb for longer?
which
You
I
know,
like that it's simple. I like simple. Keep it
yeah,
simple. You know,
yeah, because the difficulty comes from, like, as you play, you're introduced to new mechanics. In this level, you've got those, like, you saw the stop signs that like move you and like launch you and stuff. That's part of
Wait,
the,
what?
you know, like the, not the stop, like the traffic
Like the
lights, you know,
little
little
bouncy
platforms
things?
that like accelerate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are hard to figure out.
Yeah,
Like if you jump at the same time that
they launch
they
you.
like launch you. Yeah.
Which that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. So like the mechanics of the game as it develops
Or
is
like
part of
those
the
ice
difficulty.
blocks that fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets more and more intricate as
Mm-hmm.
like you go in levels.
It,
Much
it
more
it
exciting.
never gives you more than you can handle. You know.
Well, unless you're using a keyboard.
But overall, I mean, like just because the experience of the game, like you can see here, I'm on the screen a million times. Part of it early on, this was before I got a grip of the controls. You kind of start to get what I hear at least happens in Dark Souls. You get this Zen mode where you like the controller is an extension of yourself, you know, and you
Oh, all right.
whatever. Point being that when you get like, because here, look, right? So I learned earlier that like that shows you, hey, the momentum matters, because I just got launched into spikes,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I solve this one?
It's
Because
like it's instant learning.
yeah,
It's insane. Yeah.
because I realized there as I grabbed it on the wall and I held on, I was like, oh shoot. See, I learned I need my dash because I'm just gonna fall on those spikes. So I had to jump over the light post and save my dash until I had fallen down, which was important.
Yeah.
Also, there's what I actually kind of appreciate, and like I hadn't really been able to put into words until just now as I realized it, is that there's no heads up display. It's just the screen you see,
Yeah.
because you don't need to clutter it. All that you need to know about your character, you see in her model. If you'll notice, every time you dash, her hair turns blue until you land on the ground again. If your hair is blue,
That hasn't been explained to me. Why is her hair turned blue?
it's after you dash. You don't have another dash ready.
No, yeah, but what's the lore reason for that?
I don't
Let's
know.
go deeper.
I haven't heard about that yet either.
Yeah, we should say we haven't finished the game.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
finished it. I'm further along than Sal is.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've gotten a really good sense of the game. The game hasn't so far surprised me. That's not to say that it could, or couldn't rather. That's not to say that it couldn't. I'm actually hoping it does, because there's kind of this story, because the name of the game is Celeste, and I haven't met a character named Celeste yet.
It's the
which
mountain. Are you serious?
Oh shit, I'm so dumb.
Fucking
All right.
idiot.
Okay. Yeah, mountain's named Celeste. Anyway, so Madeline, you get the sense that because she talks about, I'm going to climb this mountain, and that's kind of like the singular idea that she has in her head. I am going to climb this mountain, which is at first you
I
don't
want
know
to see
why.
if you got this strawberry, because I did not get the strawberry.
I actually did, and you can see. You gotta see, this is the kind of thing. It's like how do you do this? So I immediately figured out that that doesn't work. Not immediately figured out. I lied. Oh, did I have to come back for this one? I think I might.
Maybe.
I know I did get this one because I completed. No, I think I get it here. There we go. So for the strawberries, they don't actually do anything. That's an important thing to know. It literally says in one of the loading screens, strawberries don't do anything. All they do is they just are good for showing off to your friends. So if your friends play Celeste, basically, you can say, I have 700 strawberries. And they're like, wow, you got a lot of strawberries. That's it. They're not tokens for anything. But one of the things that I thought was really
Tokens for your pride. That's
yeah,
all it-
tokens for your pride. I when I was playing it, I kind of got the sense like in Crash Bandicoot, the crate system, because like you have to break all the crates and you have to go back through levels to find all of the crates. Which I thought I kind of got the
Wait.
sense of
Crash Bandicoot.
in Crash Bandicoot. There's the
Oh
crates.
yeah, I was thinking Banjo-Kazooie for some reason, and I'm like, wait, the wrong game.
So
Yeah,
Crash Bandicoot.
Banjo-Kazooie's with the weird ostrich.
Yeah, it's not really an ostrich. I don't.
It's an ostrich. Shut up.
Okay. Anyway, you kind of go once you beat the level, you can go back and look for the strawberries you missed. There's also like a heart and a cassette tape in every level. Which, by the way, Sal,
I didn't know.
yeah.
I
So
haven't gotten one.
yeah. So I went back. So when you get the cassette tapes, they unlock. They're called B-sides. So you can go back and play the level, which has the same mechanics of that level. So in this case, it would be those stoplights, the traffic light things that launch
Right.
you, and they complicate the puzzles a million times more. Literally, I did the level that it wasn't this one that I unlocked. I actually unlocked the next one. I did that B-side. I died 350 times trying
Yeah,
to
the
beat
dream
it.
sequence is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the dream sequence
The
one.
dream sequence was hard enough just by itself.
Yeah, which is
Like in comparison, what you guys are what you're showing right now is a joke compared to the next level.
yeah, it really is. I'm trying to figure out if there's some way I can show like that part if I can skip to it, because right now I'm just playing a video file. But this game is just really an experience because the characters that you meet, there aren't a lot, but they do kind of sell you on what none of them are wasted. The atmosphere is fantastic. Celeste Mountain. This is see Celeste. Ha, I'm a chimp. So this is the end of the chapter. The chapters aren't super long. They're usually only about like an hour to play through if you're pushing for kind of this. I was pushing for this balance of like kind of getting the strawberries I thought I could and like pushing through. If I couldn't get a strawberry, I just went, I don't want to miss the rest of the level just because of this. But you can go back later. There's a lot to do in the game. Let's see. The art style is fantastic. I love the art style. The soundtrack is amazing. The gameplay, when you do a platformer like this, the gameplay needs to be tight. You can see how many times I died here. I died 81 times on my first run through.
That's impressive. I died 255.
I think I go back.
Half of those were in like the first 3 screens keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Like this game is not keyboard friendly at all.
No, it's not keyboard friendly. You definitely need a controller. I would highly, highly, highly recommend a.
Which I would have liked. Like, hey, maybe get a controller, you fucking idiot.
I'm gonna see if maybe I can cut to the video that I have and just kind of overlay it here. So if you want to, I want you to talk for a little because I want to hear more about what you thought about the game, at least your experience of playing through it.
Wait, are you replaying this game? Did you replay it right away?
What do you mean? Yeah, this is the same level. I went because I wanted to go back for strawberries, which I don't want to show this right now in the time that I have.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. Explain your experience.
I put me on the spot.
Sorry.
I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I really liked the art style.
Oh, here.
Other than art style, games have like a feel. I don't know if that makes sense. Like a vibe, and it has a really good, just like atmosphere, like a good tone, good mood. What's the difference? I don't remember. What's
Atmosphere. I don't know if they're. Does this work? I don't know if this works.
Yeah.
I don't think. Oh, that's weird. Windows Media Player does not like this.
Yeah.
Anyway, it'll
whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Happening?
Sorry, I'm.
Whoa, it was great. You're right.
Ultimately, this game costs $20 on Steam.
I will say it's a little expensive for the game that it is.
That's what you think?
I
don't think I paid too much for this.
Like
game.
I don't have like buyer's remorse, but I'm like, I wish it was $10. Like
Almost
Stardew
guaranteed it
Valley.
probably will.
Stardew Valley, it's worth the $20 or however. this game is. I don't think it's worth the $20, but it's a great game. Like I'm not shitting on the game.
I disagree. I think it's worth the $20, but that's just me.
Yeah.
This game has a lot to experience. This level doesn't even really show you fully what's up. If you want to know the honest truth, the reason I even know about this game is because of Donkey. So if you want to hear a little bit more about, because he has a better footage editing than I do. I'm still new to this, and I don't really have good video editing software. He has some good footage on his stuff. So if you want to watch Donkey's video. Donkey, video game Donkey. So, other than that, I mean, I think that's good for Game Club tonight.
Yeah. You want to jump into the Q&A?
Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and wrap up.
I don't know if you guys can tell. I am super sick tonight.
We'll wrap up.
I am struggling.
We'll wrap up the recording first because we need to say goodbye to the people who are watching later on YouTube because I know there are a couple of them. I know some of our viewers. I'm looking at our viewer count right now, and it's we're missing some of our dear friends, but I appreciate those of you who are here today.
Yeah. We had a few new people in today too.
Yeah,
but no.
that was cool. Ultimately, Celeste, $20. I recommend it. I would give it like 8.5 out of 10. That's not a bad idea, Lakers fan. Anyway, anything else you want to say before we say our full-on goodbyes about Celeste?
No.
Okay.
Any questions, anybody?
About Celeste? And we can save that for the Q&A. Ultimately,
What do you mean? We are doing the Q&A right now.
Well, no, we're going to do the goodbye for the video. You got to, because like there's part of it that I put on YouTube. I don't want to record the Q&A because it's going to be with the Twitch chat. Because like, why would someone want to watch the podcast?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it's an incentive for those of you who are watching on YouTube right now to come and check out our stream live. 9 p.m. PST.
Good idea.
Thursday
a
night.
Post show of a kind.
A post show of sorts. Be sure to tune in, guys. Follow on Twitch and Twitter, both of us. I really, really would love to get more active on Twitter. I haven't really gotten any very much interaction. I know we don't have a very big stream with
I mean,
like
speak for yourself.
I mean we got like what our highest count is like 20 or whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway, all that to say, thank you guys again for tuning in, and those of you who are on stick around for those of you who are watching live right now for the Q&A afterwards, and those of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you for your view. Be sure to subscribe so that you can get more whenever we come out with a new episode. We'll go ahead and make sure that you turn on your notifications so you know when we post it. Other than that, anything?
If you subscribe, I'll give you a hug.
He'll give you a hug.
I don't care where you are.
Wow,
I'll give you a hug.
that's a big promise. If we
Just
become
kidding.
big and people like
And then
way down the line come back and
I'm
say,
in Iceland, and I'm like, buy me a ticket. I'll go.
that's the condition. If you buy me a
you
ticket,
you have to pay for my travel.
yeah, you have to pay for my travel. I will come and give you a hug. That's what Sal says, and we're gonna hold you to that. Anyway, anything else to say to our YouTube viewers?
No, I think
All
that's fine. Let's get this shit wrapped up.
All right, thank you guys, and be sure to tune in next week to exclusive release. Thank you.
Yeah.